Welcome everyone, and thank you all for joining us for UPliift 2020. We so wished we could see you in person this year, but due to the coronavirus, we are hosting this virtual fundraising event instead. Thank you so much to our very valuable sponsors of this event. It means so much to us that you would sponsor our first major virtual event. You can support UP in a few ways. You can bid. Check out the silent auction. Bid on items during this event all the way up until midnight of the date on the screen. Donate. Give directly to UP on the website, through a team, or on your own at uplouisville.org. Just click on Donate Today or Create a Team. Your donation of whatever size you're able to make is more important now than ever. Find UP on social media and follow us. Share it, whether or not you're in a position to support UP financially. One of the most important things you can do is to share us via social media. If you care about homeless women in Louisville, we know you have family members, friends, colleagues, and others who care too. Let them know about UP, what we do, and how we serve the community.
We are Louisville's first women's-only day shelter, so we provide a safe space in addition to comprehensive services, so basic needs to case management and getting them connected to as many resources as possible. We have literally had babies a few days old to women in their late 70s come through our doors. We provide a safe space, a place where they can use the phone, a place to use the computer, a place to shower, do their laundry. And then we have volunteers who help in those roles. So they'll assist guests with getting supplies that they might need, or helping them get supplies for the shower, or help them with their laundry. So we just try and provide a warm, welcoming space so that they can come in and get their needs met.
We think it's really important to shine a light on the state of homeless women in our community. A lot of people didn't realize that before we opened our doors, there were women bathing in the river, hanging out in the ER and in the library, because there simply weren't places for them to go during the daytime. A lot of people don't realize that when you are in emergency overnight shelter, you have to leave during the day. So, from the hours of like 7 to 3, you need somewhere to go. We learned that women were sometimes avoiding services and even avoiding the soup kitchens because they shared those spaces with the men, and they would often feel harassed or unsafe. A lot of people assume that they're addicts or they've had some kind of problem, but we really see a lot of mental health here, and a lot of the women that we see just haven't had the support systems in place that you or I have had to help them navigate challenges in life. And a lot of these women have lost their ability to ask for help. So sometimes it starts with offering a snack, a blanket, a small space to take a nap, just to kind of help meet those basic needs, to kind of get them to just be able to relax and focus on what it is that they do need to take care of. Because navigating the system is challenging, and it's super challenging in crisis.
We have case managers who will meet with our guests so they can kind of see what their situation is and help get them connected to services that they might need. They can help them with vital documents that they might need for jobs or housing, like their IDs, their birth certificates.
Everyone is passionate about our work. We have students from the Kent School who come in and they help bring new and bright and fresh ideas. And then we have experienced case managers like our lead Shannon, who has been working with homeless women for more than 20 years. And I think just the way that we all show up and support one another within the team and for the women really makes us strong and well suited for the job.
Most people end up homeless because they've exhausted all safety nets and supports that they have. And so they often feel alone here. And so being able to be that support for them and just offer a kind word or help them meet those needs, it's been so rewarding to see. And the women really do appreciate it, and they let us know they appreciate it. And they'll often come back and share their successes when they've moved into their apartment or they've gotten a job, or we had a lady once who she came back and gave her unused bus pass to one of the women because she had saved up and gotten a car for herself. So they really like to see each other succeed, and so just being a part of that process is very rewarding.
For me, it feels really amazing to know that I can show up and hold space for another woman. There have been several times when someone has come in so heavy-hearted and they just need a hug, or they just need a safe space to just be, to cry, to process out something. You know, there have been several times when I've just sat with a woman while she cried and had her feels and moved through something, because there's not a safe space to do that on the streets or in shelter. So we really strive to help women find their voice, and for those that have lost it, we'll be their voice and help them find it again. It's, you know, it's human, it's compassionate, it's women supporting women, and that's what we do here.
You know, homelessness is something that, as a society, collectively, it's completely misunderstood.
There is this preconceived stereotypical notion that a homeless person is homeless because of, you know, they're a drug addict or that they're lazy. That is a minority in the cases that we see. And people would be surprised. I would say 30% are elderly with no family and no support. And so, you know, it's just not the picture that we paint in our heads as Americans. There's no empathy, there's no compassion, because people don't really understand all of those factors.
I don't think there's anybody more resilient than somebody who's living on the streets. When you're thinking about, how am I going to be safe? Where's my next meal going to come from? That's hard work. That is hard living. And when folks say, oh, well, it's a choice, it always upset me, because it's not a choice.
People just don't really understand that being in a homeless situation is almost like a quicksand. Once you get in it, it's you can get out of it, but it's really, really hard.
It's extremely difficult to get housing if you're homeless. Even if you're housed, you're going to find a lot of barriers like income restrictions, things like that. People want you to have good credit, no evictions, no felonies, stuff like that. So when you're coming at it on your own and you either have a low income or a fixed income, it's extremely difficult to find a place to rent to you outright.
Have you ever thought about going on a job interview and taking everything you own with you? Everything. Because when you're homeless, and if you don't have a place to store your belongings, you have to take everything you have.
When you're applying for housing, they ask for everything: birth certificate, social security card, ID, proof of income, if any. I've had people be asked for marriage certificates, death certificates, divorce decrees from their parents. So, you know, when you don't have a place to stay or a mailing address or maybe access to a phone or internet, it's extremely difficult to find these things just to apply to be on a wait list.
When you fall that far down, sometimes it's really hard to see your way out.
When you're homeless, everything in your life becomes unstable. So having a place where you know you can go and get the services that you need is very helpful. When you're kind of bouncing from place to place, you might be leaning on the niceness of friends and family, but that can run out really quickly. The shelters can get filled very quickly, and they're also high volume of clients. So if you're someone who has maybe mental health issues or anxiety around people or have suffered from trauma and things like that, it's really hard to feel safe in a huge crowd of strangers who are all trying to get their needs met. So when you have a place that's designed for women, that creates a safe environment for them to come and feel heard and kind of get their daily needs met, you create kind of a sanctuary and a place for them to gain stability when otherwise they might not have it at all.
I don't know how anyone expects people to advance in education or in health outcomes without a safe, decent, affordable place to live. I just think that's impossible. So I think it's the most important thing we can do to move people out of poverty, help them find jobs, help them get connected into society. We can get people connected to services that they need if we have places like Up for Women and Children. We need people focusing on more affordable housing in the community and how to fund it. We need people focusing on how to change the way we handle evictions in the community and have fewer of them. But we also need people who are dealing one-on-one with people who are experiencing homelessness, who are restoring dignity to those people, who are treating them like the individuals they are, people who need help and can be helped. And that's where I think Up for Women and Children really excels.
We knew as far back as 2016 that Louisville needed a day shelter for women. The need was identified by the men's shelters, day shelters, because they couldn't take the women.
Women that are homeless in particular face a lot of different obstacles than men do. And when there was not a homeless shelter strictly for women, a lot of women were scared to go to those shelters and to seek services because a lot of women are victims of violence and abuse.
You know, it's hidden a lot in women because they need to feel safe. They're threatened if they have children of CPS taking their kids because somehow they're a bad parent, because they're homeless. There's just so many factors. So it's wonderful and necessary to have a place where these women not only can get assistance and some guidance and some support, not only from us, but from one another, but a place to come during the day where they can have respite and they can breathe and they can start working through those pieces, one piece at a time.
To my surprise, Amy and Andrea come walking into my office one day and they said, "We have a dream and this is what we want to do." And they had not been part of any of those kinds of conversations. They saw the need and decided that that's what they wanted to do.
They had a vision and a dream and a strategy, and most important of all, they rolled their sleeves up and they said, "We'll do whatever it takes to make this work."
I met with Andrea and Amy about a year, I think, before Up started. They were explaining what their concept was and what they wanted to do, and it was fantastic. They worked hard. They reached out to donors. They had a vision and a clear vision. And you know, a lot of folks have that clear vision, but they can't get it to execution. And so Up has done that and actually started to outgrow their space. So they've had a tremendous impact. I think now women who are on the street know they have a place to go, know where they can get help. There's a lot of acceptance here. There's a lot of support here. There's a lot of services here. I've seen women really go from the street and tremendously desperate situations through Up, getting connected to services, getting connected to potential housing, and make a difference in many women's lives here in Louisville.
When people call, where can I go? Where can I go get a shower? Where can I do my laundry? Now we have a place to send them.
And the transformation and the evolution of Up since its short time that they've been operating has been amazing to watch, because as the needs in the community evolved, they were one of the first, always there, to evolve with it. And I can remember a couple years ago when our homeless population started spiking and a number of our overnight shelters were starting to expand. And there was Up, although they're a day shelter, they were there responding to needs. Was that their facility? No. Was it their responsibility? Oh, in their mind it was.
To have a place that's warm and inviting and kind of reminds you more of, you know, a living room or a natural hangout just makes you feel better about using a service. And it's not like, oh, I have to wait in line on a plastic hard chair to get what I need. I can actually come down, sit, maybe talk with some friends, use the computer, color, you know, get lunch, talk with case management, and kind of try to get everything met in that one moment and feel like you're not just using another homeless service, you're actually being able to enjoy the space that you're in that moment and feel safe and comfortable.
I saw it grow from a dream to a reality in actually a fairly short period of time.
Well, a lot of times, working in the streets of Louisville, we will find individuals, and there may not be too many places we can take them. Sometimes we'll hit a dead end, and UP has really been a great resource. They're always there when we need them. When we call, they're ready to help us out, and they really create a safe, secure, facility for the individuals we bring here.
What I admire about UP for women and children is when you see people who have an idea and think it will work, and then you see it really does work. There is a need for these services. There is a demand for these services. There are women and children on the street who were looking for help, and now they're getting the help, and that's terrific.
Without UP reaching out to the women in Louisville who are on the street, it's very hard to find that hope and very hard to find that pathway off the street. And that's why these organizations are so important.
So our case managers work with guests. They will walk them through the situation. So a lot of times the ladies will come to us in crisis. They have no idea where to go or what resources are available for them. So really it's someone to connect with and share their story with, kind of help empathize with them, show some compassion, and then just walk them through what is available, help them with those services, make connections to other programs, and kind of offer that warm handoff so that they can get connected to other programs that can further help them on their goals and their path of self-sufficiency.
As a case manager, I am the navigator for the situation. I help them identify which steps need to be taken first. I assist them in getting those documents to get them where they need to go, and I help them navigate other resources within the community that can then become a web of support.
We can provide the women showers, a mailing address, case management, and it's a safe place for the women to be during the day. They're not worried about the men. They can come in, work on their goals, or they can come in and just get their shower and relax and have a place to gently be for the day.
There's this mentality, this bootstraps mentality that we tend to have in America where you're just not working hard enough. And that's why you're in the situation that you're in. But there's so many barriers that come with homelessness in and of itself that people don't realize. It's one thing to get a job, but how are you going to get a job if you don't have your documentation because you've fled a situation?
I just didn't realize the barriers were so great and the system was so complicated. If you don't have a mailing address, there are so many things that you can't do, and obviously if you don't have a home, you don't have a mailing address.
When someone's experiencing homelessness, they're gonna be kind of shoved in all these different directions and be given 1,000 numbers to call. And when they do call, none of them pick up, and oh, that's an old number, or they get a voicemail, or this person's only there on Tuesdays to call you back. Having UP be here, it just provides a means for people to actually access a tangible resource where they know if I go this day, I can talk with someone. And maybe not the issue that I came in is resolved, but I'm gonna leave with a plan, and I'm gonna have someone that's actually talked to me about what's going on and try to resolve my issue for me.
Trauma-informed care focuses on what happened to you versus what did you do. Whenever somebody comes in and they're acting out, it's more something probably happened to them to make them act that way, as opposed to thinking that there's something wrong with them.
The homeless population pretty much equals trauma. You're constantly in danger of being hurt, assaulted, robbed, and this happens on a daily basis. And then add to that, if you're a female, there's even more likelihood that you're going to be assaulted, taken advantage of. Women who are usually in a culture of homelessness almost always have a background of some sort of trauma in adulthood and childhood, often both. I think if they just feel like they're sitting with someone who's not judging them and who's just listening to them, and truly conveys a sense that I'm just here for you, and I'm not going to judge you, and whatever you need, I'm going to try to help you get it.
Engaging with folks that have been traumatized, I try to just be a listening ear, if anything. They've been through a lot, and I can't even try to imagine. So just sitting there and letting them vent and, just listening to what they're saying, providing empathy, and that they shouldn't feel ashamed for how they feel. If they're crying, if I can't hear them, I just kind of give them just the space to unravel whatever they need to unravel. And then from there, it's just, well, what can we help you with you today? And then from there, it kind of builds.
It depends a lot on volunteers. So volunteers assist with the laundry, helping with the mail, and manage supplies, because we hand out hygiene supplies and food on a daily basis here. Those are super important. So it takes a lot of us together to make everything work, and we couldn't do this work without continued support from our volunteers.
It's just so important. Everybody, no matter where they're at in their life, they want to feel like, are you going to listen to me? Are you willing to hold my hand if I'm hurting? Would you listen to what I'm saying? Because they need to feel and understand that we do care. And they do get it. They receive the love that we're sending out in any small way that might be. Yes, we had a young mom with her child in stroller, and we had done their laundry. They'd waited for it to dry. We folded it, and as they were rolling out with the little one, he was cuddling with his blanket because it smelled good. We use fabric softener here. We use dryer sheets, and in our showers we have body washes and lotions and things that are very scented and joyful, and the ladies really appreciate that things smell nice. That might seem very small, but it's big in their world when you live out.
It was very intriguing, the feeling you get when you leave after helping women who have had a rough day, a rough night. The children you interact with, especially pre-COVID, that were running around here. Gave one kid a pen because she wanted the pen, and I thought she was so sweet, and her mom was busy, and I was trying to occupy her. And one of the other directors came out and said, "Does anyone know who drew all over the bathroom wall?" And I was like, I may know who it is. But this little girl, she had never played with a pen. The safe space, the simplicity of sitting that you and I take for granted in our homes, they don't have it. They don't have the place to play with toys, clean toys. They don't have the space to draw a picture. So I began falling in love with the children and the women and the mission of helping the women and children in our city get off the streets.
The strength in these women is incredible. They go through a lot every single day, over and over and over again. And I know that I've lived through that, but you forget once you're not in that anymore. Peer support is somebody who has done the program of either mental health or addiction, and then have completed it and have lived successful lives. Peer support helps people overcome that. And the fact that every single day they get up and they do the same thing, and they're a lot of times beat down, and to have strength to do that over and over and over again and still remain positive, still come in here with smiles on their faces and say thank you like we've given them the whole world, like that's a lot of strength.
They watch out for each other, they're generous with each other, their resiliency is amazing. They've been through many things, but they are still continuing to work on their own goals and work through their challenges, but they're there for each other, and I always appreciate that.
But the fact that they continue to get up and they move and they come in and they want to work, they want to get a job, they want to move on, and they want to better themselves is just an amazing thing for me to see, because I can see how someone could maybe not want to move in the right direction, but not the women that come to
and they're so grateful for the little, instead of being so angry at everything that's been taken from them and everything that they've lost. There's just something to be said for a woman who comes in and you give them some shampoo and a comb and they thank you like you've just given them $100.
I think that people are drawn to UP because they weren't aware of the need that was in our city and felt that that need had already been met. The more they learn about what we do and the people that we're helping, they just really want to get involved and learn more about it. And so it's been a really fun, encouraging process getting all that support.
Every person that you interact with, you're fulfilling, even if it's a really minor need that they have. You're providing them with something that they really couldn't get elsewhere. But it does make me feel happy that I can help in a super small way to contribute to that.
They're so moved when we could bring them in out of the cold, hot coffee being very popular with our ladies, and then the shower being something that they can just let themselves go because it's a very safe space. There's only females here. And we take their laundry from them and we give that back to them clean. And they're so happy to have a shower and their clothes, and then they will hug us or thank us. And I've been moved to tears. I'm so grateful for what I have, and hopefully I can, give back.
UP is always in need of volunteers. If you have 2 hours a week, 2 hours a month, we are always happy to have you here. I've never seen anyone leave feeling any less than fulfilled and rewarded in the work that they've done. So please, if you have any free time, we would love to have you here.
When we were first looking to open a day shelter for women, one of the things that we thought about was our name. And so our name, UP, actually stands for Uniting Partners for Women and Children, because we knew there were a lot of great organizations in the city that helped this population, but how could we offer more of a one-stop shop? So one place that they could come and get multiple needs met.
We never intended to do this work alone. We knew that it was going to take a partnership of providers, and that's what we do here. We work together to meet all the pieces and fill the gap to get them where they need to be.
We are fortunate in Louisville to have so many agencies that serve the homeless in the community and are willing to step up to do the things they need to do in order to reach those homeless folks. And UP has been very involved in that because they're working with St. John's, with the outreach teams. They allow people to come in and work with the women so they don't have to provide all the services that are needed. They've gone out and tried to figure out who does this and how do we tap into that.
I got connected with UP through the Homeless Initiative grant that the city has. My team specifically provides case management and housing support, which is intensive case management. So instead of meeting with a client once or twice a month, we meet with them 2 to 3 times a week. And that way we meet them where they're at if they're on the street, or even if they already have housing. But what we do is we engage them, we connect them to resources, services. We have psychiatric services connected to our team, and we get them housed and then help to make sure they maintain housing. So we're a great partnership because a lot of our referrals to people who are in need are already connected with UP, and then they make the referral to us so that we can help them even further. UP has helped us maintain contact with our clients, let us know where they're located. For some clients, help us engage them because there's trust issues. So the client typically knows the UP staff and trusts them, so when they reach out to us to assist them with helping with the client can kind of has that baseline trust with us because of the UP staff.
I'm able to see a lot more of my clients here, and it's a good place to send people where it's neutral, where it's not associated with the shelter you're staying at or maybe the camp that you're staying at, which maybe there's some barriers there to you accessing services. You can kind of leave, come here, get the services you need, and then go about your day.
I ran into a lady that was kind of down on her luck. She had come into town. She was a victim of domestic violence. She had her infant with her. One of those stories you can't really make up. Middle of winter, She comes into town from out of county, and she has nowhere to go, very little money for a hotel. And we called up, we asked what the resources were, if they could help us, and they said, bring her right away. And they actually ended up only being 4 blocks away. She was on Broadway at the time. So we brought her right up 2nd Street, and they were awesome. They create a truly secure and safe place for the individuals they serve. And they've been awesome, reaching out to us when they need our help. We show up as fast as we can and provide them whatever assistance they need.
Well, our outreach team, and that's basically Leslie and I that work in local outreach at Northeast Christian, care very much about our homeless population here in Louisville. I heard on TV that there was going to be a new day center for women exclusively in our city, and I knew it was the first, and I knew that we would want to jump on board with that. I immediately knew that Amy and Andrea were going to be excellent leaders for UP for Women and Children, and what I personally loved about it was what UP stands for, Uniting Partners, that they were not going to reinvent the wheel, but they were going to collectively use the resources in our city to meet the needs of homeless women.
We decided that one of the ways we could help is to serve a weekly meal, just really to create the community atmosphere among the women that are coming to be served.
As I was able to actually sit at the table with the women, and the ladies at each of the tables kept telling me, this is the real deal. This is a real place that cares for me, and they are here to meet my needs. No one else in the city has cared for me this much, but Amy and Andrea and the staff here at UP, they make a difference in my life, and we love them so much. And that was just so impactful to me to hear it from the women themselves about how special this place is.
COVID has brought a lot of challenges. It has been a learning curve. We have, as a board and as a team of staff, have learned to pivot on a dime. With things constantly changing, the CDC recommendations, we felt it was imperative that we did not close the shelter, because at a time when people were being sent home, these women don't have a home to go to, and they needed us more than ever. So we did our best to come together. The board really stepped up, putting in more time to determine to work out a plan with the staff that would work to keep everyone safe so that they could socially distance. We moved to our courtyard because we could no longer be in confined spaces. Moved to our courtyard, had to bring in things such as porta potties and hand sanitizing stations to give these women a place that they could still receive their services so that they could continue to move in a positive manner versus taking 3 steps back.
Everybody went to phone services or online. They closed their walk-in hours. So if our clients don't have a phone or internet access, they can't actually access the services normally that they would be able to. So having places like this available where they're still open and running allows us to still meet with our clients who don't have access to a phone or internet.
And in COVID, I think we were kind of struggling because we'd had a real shift in our services, and we weren't able to meet the women quite in the way that we had been in the past. And there was one woman who kept showing up every day, and she experienced a lot of mental health and sometimes would be actually quite unstable when she arrived, and we really had to work with her just to be able to let her come in to take a shower for the day. And, I remember telling her one day that, please be patient with us. We're doing our best. It's different times right now. We're just trying to keep everybody safe. And she said, well, your best is doing a whole lot for me. And that really did, touch my heart, because she meant it, and she, I'm happy to say, is another one of the ladies that we were able to get housed. So again, it's the way that we all work together to support the women and get them where they want to go.
I was working with a client today, and she broke down and cried and said that she really wanted a way for her to help get money to UP. And she's been talking to all these people because we do make a difference, and we're here, and there's so many things that UP is willing to help with, so many barriers that aren't in the way because of how we're run and who runs it. She saw that, and she started crying. She said that we help her with everything. Anything that she needs, that she knows that we can come here. If she has a problem, she can come here, and whatever we can do to help, we will.
So the way that UP works is with donations. And in order to meet our goals for UPliift 2020, we need donations. We need you to log on to our website at uplouisville.org and click on either donations, or you can bid on some of our silent auction items and help us today.
It has made it challenging to fundraise in a day and age when you can't be face-to-face with individuals. So we're using this to help to spread the word, educate everyone in the community about what UP is and what we can do for the community, and we'd like to ask for your donations so that we can continue to offer the amazing services to all of the women and children that come to our shelter. Last year at our UPliift event, we raised over $44,000, and we are hoping to top that this year with our event. So we'd like to invite you to share the message with any of your friends. They can visit our website and make donations there so that we can do even better than we did last year at our UPliift event.
Your financial support helps keep us operating during these unprecedented times. We appreciate support so that we can continue doing what we're doing and showing up for these women on the front lines through a pandemic to help them achieve self-sufficiency and get them where they want to go. And hopefully, you know, as we continue to navigate through this pandemic, we'll be able to grow and find our way into our next space. We've just started our 3rd year of operation. You know, our client base has grown, our team has grown, our community reach has grown, and we're super excited about the future because we know we have a lot of potential and that our service is needed, and we need your support for that.
Financial donations to UP for Women and Children are very, very important. And I want you to know that every dollar that you give to UP for Women and Children will be put to good use. From maybe helping women obtain a birth certificate, a photo ID, but also helping women get a job, get transportation, a TARC pass. So think about what you can give and make sure that that gift is where you have to dig a little deeper, right? Because the deeper you dig into your pocket to give, the bigger difference you're gonna make with your money.
And if you can't give with your money, just please give with your time. It is just as valuable to the women here at UP. If you feel so inclined to volunteer, visit the website at uplouisville.org/volunteer. You won't regret it.
Look in the mirror and say, I'm going to do something today, and do it. Pick up that phone, go to your computer, and contact UP Louisville. It's uplouisville.org. But don't let the sun set without you doing something to help someone else today.
We've been faced with a lot of great support so far, but we know that as we get deeper into COVID and that emergency funding runs out and budgets start to hit deficits, that it's going to be more challenging for us to fund our mission here. So your support will help keep us on our path to help women achieve self-sufficiency and to help us grow so that we can evolve, expand our hours, serve more women, and hopefully sooner rather than later find a way to our new home.
When somebody sees you, that's the moment that makes a difference right there. Because as addicts, as homeless, we have one stigma. You know, we are lazy, we're not good to anybody, we're criminals, we're all of these things. And not only do people tell you that, but that's what you start to believe that you are. Like, you live this life for so long, and that's really who you believe that you are. And you lose all the things that you thought that you were. But then when that one person sees you for you through everything else, it kind of breaks all that for a second. And you're able to stand up. Maybe I'm not this, maybe I'm not a criminal, maybe I am, maybe I can overcome this, maybe I'm not everything that everybody said that I was. It's like this shot of hope.
Wow, what amazing stories and advocates. On behalf of UP for Women and Children, thanks to all who shared their time and stories with us. And thank you for joining us today, learning more about UP and what we do, and supporting us in ways large and small. Your generosity towards UP means the world to us, whether it's financial or sharing about UP with your family and friends. A few reminders as we close. Make sure and bid. The silent auction is open until the time you see on the screen. Please keep checking on your items and bidding. Donate. You've heard about how UP is continuing to operate during this challenging time. We know our community is hurting and struggling, and gifts of any amount are helpful. You can donate at uplouisville.org. Follow and share. Whether or not you're in a position to give financially, you can support UP in other ways by following us on social media and sharing about UP with your networks. On behalf of the entire team at UP for Women and Children, thank you so much for joining us today. Stay safe and stay healthy and stay connected to us virtually. Thank you again to our sponsors. We also want to thank all of our amazing community partners that help us serve our women in a variety of ways. We'd like to thank our board and all the support they give us throughout the year. Without our volunteers, we couldn't keep the shelter running and serving all of our women. We hope that everyone watching will consider donating some time. Last year, it took 156 individuals volunteering for 2,235 hours to keep the shelter running.